Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Again, if I look similar, it's because I'm filming multiple videos on the same day and I can only get one eye contact in. But today's video, I'm going to be reading your scary stories again. Here is the email if you want to send me any scary stories, but I do try and read the comments as well because I know a lot of you post your stories in the comments on my YouTube videos. So today we have a mixture of YouTube comment story times and also a few off the email. But yes, like I said, here is the email if you want to email me stories. It's a lot easier for me because they're all in one place. So if you do want to send them to me, I would prefer you did it on the email, but if it's in the YouTube comments, that's okay. It just might be more difficult for me to see them. Anyway, that is today's video. I hope you like it. If you do, please remember to subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. And without further ado, let's get on into today's video. We'll start with the email ones, and it says, my possible not deer experience. So I feel like this is going to be an S Walker story time. And the name that they've given are Rats Are So Cool. Yeah, so I guess that is their name, because you can either stay anonymous, give me your real name or a YouTube name. Maybe if you do YouTube, I can say your name in that. But this one just says Rats Are Cool. Yeah, so I'm guessing that's their name that they want to use. But it says, a few weeks ago I was at my friend's house for her party. It was me, her and her other friend. I'm not going to say names for obvious reasons, but we were all in the hot tub which is in her backyard. Thankfully the backyard is fenced in, or else this would have been even more unsettling than it already is. As we were sitting in the hot tub, a herd of deer walked into the field about 40 feet away from the fence. My friend's 3 dogs were outside with us, and then they started going crazy. At first we thought nothing of it because we thought it was just deer. Then the deer left and the dogs were still going crazy. I then saw something standing in the field. My friends thought I was just pointing out the fence post in the field, but then they looked beside it and saw a large black figure standing there. It still looked like a deer, but then it got to maybe about 2 feet taller and started looking hunched over and not like deer at all. As soon as I noticed something was still there and that it was no longer looking like deer, we got out of the hot tub as soon as possible and back into the house. It was so unsettling and still freaks me out. I hope we were just imagining things, but at this point it could have been anything. Okay, whoa. Basically, the first thing I want to say is a lot of the stories that people send me about S-Walkers, or S-Walker stories that I read online, they always tend to get taller, like really tall. So I feel like that it's a sign that it could have been an S-Walker. And obviously the fact that it went from a deer into a really creepy creature is another thing that tends to occur with S-Walkers. Well, a lot of S-Walker stories that I read. So I feel like it could have been. That freaks me out. See, what you were doing sounds so fun, but I would be so scared just because I would be scared to see something in the woods at nighttime. See, the woods is such like a beautiful place, but then you add nighttime to it and all of a sudden it's the creepiest place in the world and you don't want to be there. Well, it is to me anyway. Wow, what a story. I'm so glad that you're okay. Thank you for sending me in your story. I absolutely loved reading it. I feel like there's a lot there that we can talk about in the comments, and I'm excited to see what everybody else thinks about this story as well. Also very well written, and I actually read that through first time, which was great. Thank you. Okay, the next one says S-Walkers, and their name says Owen the Snake Guy 2.0 M Crow Wiki. I guess that's their name. Another long one. One day I was out walking my papa's dog in the woods. The sun started to go down and I said to myself, we have to leave here, because S-Walkers were near. I could smell like a dead animal. And then my papa's dog went crazy and ran up the hill. And when I got to him, he stopped and I could not see what he was looking at until it walked out from behind the fucking tree. I told the dog to run and I put it on the leash, and me and the dog run as fast as we could. When we got back to my papa's, I grabbed a gun and went back to the place where it was at. And when I got there, it was just a deer. So I shot it and I missed, but it went dark really fast when I got back to my papa's. And he said, why the fuck did you grab a gun? I said there was an S-Walker following us. So he said okay. Then I woke up in the middle of the night and I looked out the window and there it was in the yard. So I ran to wake up my papa and we went out there and we shot the S-Walker and missed it again, but it turned out to be a coyote and it ran off. The next morning we went outside and could count how many we shot. We shot about 20 rounds at the S-Walker. Sincerely, Owen. I'm sorry if that story was a little bit all over the place. I had to reword some of it because a lot of it was all over the place, but I can kind of get an idea what the story was about. So he was walking his dog and the dog started going crazy and it ran off, and then when he got to the top of the hill and the dog stopped barking, he could see something in the trees, and then he went back home to grab a gun to shoot it and he missed it and it was a deer and it ran off. And then when they went home and he told his dad was like okay, and then in the night time he saw a coyote, but if it was an S-Walker, so he shot it and they missed it again and the coyote ran off. off, and the next morning they went outside and saw all the bullets and how many they had shot, so the S-Walker actually escaped. So that is a crazy story. Wow. I would like to know if anything else has happened since then, or whether that was like a one-off occurrence. So if you're watching this, Owen, has more stuff like this happened since then? And if it has, I would love to know, so you can send me some more stories if you want to, but you don't have to. You can comment them in this video, any more occurrences that have happened. I'd love to know. See, animals are really, I don't know what the word is it perceptive? Like, animals are really perceptive, and babies as well, to paranormal things. So when an animal starts acting weird, you know something's up. Okay, we'll move on to some of the YouTube comment ones. I have 3 YouTube comment stories, I believe. And the first one is from Sava, and it says, story time. This story has some connection with the last story because I live in New Hampshire. My parents recently bought a house up in the northern part of New Hampshire. It's a house with a big field. So a while after we got it, we were there on our snowmobiles having a good time. Later that night, I go to bed and wake up at midnight to get some water. And all of a sudden, I hear distant yelling, and it said, "Help." Of course, this spooked me, so I looked out the window and I don't see anything. So I'm like, oh, maybe it's the TV. And so I go to look at the TV and it's not on. I then again hear, "Help." So I look out the window and I see a tall figure in the field. It freaked me out. So I'm like, oh shit. I sprint. Why did I say it like that? But that's how it's written. Oh well. Oh shit. That's what we're gonna go for. So I sprinted up the stairs and locked the door. I don't know if it's an S-Walker, but it was not human. And no, I did not get my water that night. Thank you for clarifying about your water. I also wouldn't have got my water that night. I would have just dehydrated in my bed. And not left. But ugh, freaky. That's like there's a video that I reacted to for S-Walkers where there was someone in the field and they were literally just stood there screaming bloody murder, like screaming for help, but they were stood still. That's what that reminds me of. I can imagine like a figure just stood there completely still, just screaming for help, trying to lure you out the house, or lure you. How do you say that word? Lure? You know what I mean. That's freaking me out. Your stories always freak me out and make me even more scared of forests and fields than I already am. Thank you for your story. I really enjoyed reading it. The next one is from Penny Dara, and it says, apparently they are attracted to you when you say their name and stuff. I was sitting down doing homeschooling and I heard in the most realistic voice ever, "Leslie." I go, "What?" And then I just looked back and was like, "Did you guys say my name?" They said no, but it sounded so real. Oh, and here's another one. I was playing my games and all of a sudden I hear shh. I thought it was just my mom talking to the TV. Then again, I hear shh. About 2 fucking minutes later. I was paranoid that entire night because what the fuck? She was asleep, plus it was 3 in the morning. So that's the story. A little bit confusing again. I know people tend to write the stories really fast in the comments. So what I can get from it is that they were, in the first story, being homeschooled and they heard someone say their name and then they asked who was in the room whether they said their name and they said no, so they were really freaked out. That's happened to me before. I've heard my dad call me and then when I've asked him he said I didn't call your name, so I can relate to that. It's really freaky. And then the second one, they heard someone say shush and it was 3 in the morning but no one was about. To me, reading these, I know they've put apparently don't say their name, which I think they're saying that their story is about S-Walkers, but for me I feel like this is more paranormal, which is freaky. I know, I'm sorry, but I feel like it could be more paranormal. The shush thing gives me ghost vibes more than S-Walker vibes. You'll have to let me know if anybody watching this video agrees with me, whether you think that it could be ghosts or S-Walkers, but to me I feel like it could be ghosts, especially the 3 in the morning thing. I swear 3 in the morning is like when I don't know how to word this, but apparently ghosts are more likely to make an appearance at 3 in the morning, apparently. I mean, don't quote me on it because I'm not 100% sure, but apparently they're more likely to make an appearance at 3 in the morning. So to me it gives me ghost vibes. I feel like it could be ghosts rather than S-Walkers. Okay, the last story is from a YouTube channel called Dead and Deader, and it says, this might not be an S-Walker story, but I'm going to tell it anyways. It was a school trip and we were driving along as normal. All of a sudden we saw a woman and she didn't even flinch when the school bus came right at her. She looked like she was dressed for Halloween as a ghost. When we were passing by, I think I remember her looking me straight in the eyes as the bus passed her. So that's the last story. That kind of reminds me of a dashcam video that I reacted to in the last video where there was just a woman in the middle of the road dressed really creepy. If you want to go and watch that video, I will link it. But it could have been someone playing a prank, but then maybe you saw a real life ghost. I don't get S-Walker vibes from this story. I get more paranormal ghost vibes. So maybe you saw a ghost. Maybe you have a sixth sense. Sixth sense. How do people say that word without getting tongue twisted? Sixth sense. Sixth sense. I don't know, right? I'm not going to keep saying it because it will not feel like a word anymore. Maybe you have one of those and you saw a ghost. That's the vibes it gives me. But that is all the story times that I have for you today. Again, thank you so much to everybody that sent me your story in. I love reading them. I feel like it's a good way to connect with you and get you involved in the scary videos. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please remember to subscribe and give this video a big thumbs up. Again, here is the email if you want to email me any of your scary stories. I check them every now and again, and then when I get a build up of stories, I read them in a video. But until next time, I will see you all soon. Peace.